G'day there guys, it's your Aussie hubby Markee, back at it again with another episode of r/AmiTheA. Now if you love today's content like I love you, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and enjoy today's bloody good content. Also guys, big things coming in the future. If you click that link at the top of the screen, you'll be directed to J Mick. Up and coming Am I the A-hole relationship advice, who knows what else kind of content he's gonna cover. So if you love Markee, you'll be sure to love J Mick just as much. Posted by user ThrowRA382838. Titled, Am I the A-hole for helping my friend get a girl removed from the soccer team? I, 16 female, have a friend named Aisha, 15 female. Aisha is Muslim and wears a hijab to school, which often causes people to give her dirty looks, comments, etc. I don't know why, it's just cloth. Anyway, the worst instance possible was with this girl named Megan, also 15 female. When we were sitting together at lunch, she came up to Aisha and I and told Aisha she dared her to take her hijab off, taunting her, saying she would look so pretty without it. This was with malicious intent because I told her one time, thinking she was just clueless, and wanted to educate her. Then she forcibly tried to remove her hijab. I moved her hand away, and we went to the principal. Instead of getting punishment, Megan made up a sob story about how it would harm her position on some prestigious soccer club that she was in. Fast forward a few days ago, she makes a TikTok that said, when you get called to the principal's office for telling the Muslim girl to take off her do-rag. I was so livid for her. Aisha is very shy and didn't want to seem like a buzzkill, so she asked me personally to email the soccer organization. Well, I did, and she was immediately kicked off, and other organizations in the area were notified of her behavior. Now, all of her friends are in my DMs saying how horrible I am, how I'm an invalid, how I need to take a joke, etc. My parents think I should have stayed out of it, but I think I did the right thing. I think you did the right thing too, OP. She publicly posted on TikTok, showing that she was a racist and that she's cool with doing specifically, disgusting things. She was let off very easy by the principal and should have just chilled from there and learnt her lesson. But obviously, she doubled down, and you took action into your own hands. This is a form of vigilante justice I can get behind. I fully back OP's actions in this ones. That girl needs to be shut down, the soccer organization needs to be notified, and Aisha deserves justice in this situation. OP, not the a-hole. Have you seen the clip where a soccer player lost full coverage with her hijab, and the other women, even opposition, stopped to huddle around her while she fixed it? When there are so many of those women in the world, why would a soccer team want an Islamophobic player? Her own actions got her booted from the club, and for good reason. OP says, I love that video. It made me bawl the first time I saw it, even though that may sound ridiculous. It's not hard to practice human decency. Not the a-hole. What the hell? Where's the joke? People really care more about soccer and TikTok than being a humane person. Seriously, it's honestly gross. Yeah, I might expect it from the girl Megan, but her friends and even OP's parents are giving her grief about it. It's disgusting. This girl Aisha was accosted for wearing an item of clothing, and some other girl without cause proceeded to try and remove the piece of her clothing for no reason other than being malicious. If Megan was so concerned with her standing in soccer, she probably shouldn't baselessly assault people on xenophobic grounds. OP is so not the a-hole here, and apparently has a better grasp on what constitutes unacceptable behavior than even the adults. I'm not surprised that Megan's friends are lashing out because of this. People like Megan are very rarely the lone wolf in their friend groups. They're all a-holes for sure, but it's definitely not a surprise. OP's parents are looking out for OP. Their advice might be misguided, but we don't know the nuance here. They could have said something like, you did a good thing sticking up for your friend, but sometimes that comes with consequences, unfair though that may be. They could have been crappy about it, we don't know. This can be a difficult position for parents, but you want to look out for your kid, but you also want them to have a sense of what's right. Parents can often be well-intentioned, but still slip up. To be sure though, OP did the right thing, and Megan is suffering the consequences of her own actions and nobody else's. Posted by user AmiTheA. Titled, Would I be the a-hole if I told my wife that her lesbian friend is in love with her and wishes that she wasn't pregnant? I know this sounds really wrong, but please hear me out. My wife has a girl gang, a group of women who are very close friends and always support each other. One of the girls in this gang is Jill. Jill is a lesbian. Jill always has had this tiny crush on my wife. My wife knows about this, I know, and Jill knows that we know. In fact, Jill also jokes around me that my wife would have been with her had I not been in the picture. Now, I'm possessive, but I trust my wife. Also, Jill has always respected my wife's boundaries, given that she's straight, and has never done anything to make her uncomfortable. Jill has assured my wife that it was just harmless infatuation and nothing to worry about. Yesterday, my wife arranged a barbecue party for her friends, all 7 of them, and the plan was to announce that she's pregnant. We've only recently found out. I was working in my home office when I heard Jill crying, and Amy, another of my wife's friends, consoling her. Jill was also saying that my wife is too young to be pregnant. She's 29, she shouldn't be pregnant. Basically, rambling about the pregnancy and crying. Amy was telling her that it's high time that she got over my wife and that they don't have any chance. Jill replied saying that she did have a chance with my wife up until now, and this wretched baby ruined it for her. I don't think they know that I was home, as they were talking pretty loudly in the living area. The door to my office was open, so their voices were very clear. I've debated about whether to tell my wife or not, and as far as I know, she's only aware about Jill having a minor crush on her and not the extent of her feelings. I feel like I would want to know if I was in my wife's position. However, this might significantly affect their relationship. Would I be the a-hole if I told my wife that Jill is in love with her? Personally, no. I feel like this is something you do need to sort out, and I imagine it would be the same with your wife if she found out that a man was in love with you, and, you had to know that. If she was feeling uncomfortable, I'm sure she'd want to tell you and have that smoothed over. This instance should be no different. I would want to have things resolved with my wife, and have it not significantly affect their friendship, if at all possible. Definitely, communication is everything in a marriage. You would be the a-hole if you didn't tell her, in all honesty. Not the a-hole. You have to tell your wife. What if Jill does something even more weird? As a pregnant woman, I would not want to be surprised. Exactly. OP should definitely tell his wife about it. Jill seems to be obsessed with OP's wife. I don't want it to sound alarming, but the way Jill thought she had a chance with OP's wife until the baby came into the picture, even though OP is still married to his wife, sounds very wrong. She might try to harm OP or the baby itself, so OP needs to be very careful. It is straight up fudging creepy. I might be overprotective, but if I overheard a man say that about my wife, I would immediately see that guy as a threat and would no longer be okay with my wife being around him, especially not alone. Even though women are usually less of a physical threat than men are, I still think OP has every reason to see her as a threat as well. She sounds nuts. That's just it. Jill is doing the same thing nice guys do, in pretending to be friends, all the while they're just waiting for their shot. I'm going with not the a-hole, as long as you only tell your wife. She for sure has a right to know, especially since Jill will most likely be jealous of the baby. Just make sure you don't wave it around like a flag for everyone to see, you feel me? It doesn't sound like you were planning on doing that all along. Just wanted to be clear on where the a-hole line is. I'd also like to point out that the wife might want to know about the other friend. Hopefully a civil discussion can come out about this, but not to the rest of the group. Why should they not wave it around like a flag? They have every single right to be proud parents. If Jill were a man, this would be straight up sexual harassment. They have no responsibility to regard her feelings, since she feels no responsibility to respect their relationship. On top of that, Jill literally called their future child a wretch. She is incredibly toxic and should be cut off by the wife. They say, I took the flag-waving comments to be about what Jill said, not about the baby. So don't go putting the gossip on blast. Tell the wife, let her handle that with the girl gang, not OP. They have every right to be proud parents and shouldn't have to hide their happiness over the growing family. And yes, Jill needs to be cut off. Posted by user CopyConnect106, titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my son that he's the reason that me and his mother are getting divorced? I know upon reading the title alone, many of you will just call me an a-hole, and you might be right, but I want to explain myself first. My wife and I have been together when we first met in high school. We were able to maintain a long-distance relationship throughout college and stayed true to each other. I truly thought we were inseparable. She gave birth to a boy 12 years ago, and since then, things have changed drastically. My son unfortunately has behavioral problems, and it's been very difficult raising him. He throws temper tantrums, gets in trouble in school frequently, refuses to listen to my wife and I. As a result, my wife and I started having disagreements about how we should handle him, i.e., whether to punish more, let him get his anger out, etc. This created a huge wedge between us that kept getting wider. We both resorted to drinking more and wanting to be away from each other as much as possible to get some relief. We started having more arguments, and eventually, it became so obvious that our marriage was deteriorating that family members started questioning it. So the topic of divorce came up, and we both decided to go through with it. When I first told my son about it, he cried endlessly, then started throwing fits about how unfair it was. I completely understand that a divorce is hard on any child, but the intensity of his fits kept growing. Since my wife and I are separated, not yet divorced, and because she can't tolerate our son that much, we agreed that he gets to spend most of the week with me, unfortunately. So I see him a lot and have to put up with his yelling far more often than she does. Last Friday, he started asking if my wife and I forgave each other, and I told him that the divorce is happening, like it or not. He starts crying, and I got mad at him and told him, Buddy, you want to know why we're getting divorced? Because of you. We were happy before you were born, but you always act bad and get in trouble. So stop arguing with me when you caused it. You have nothing but yourself to blame. This devastated him, and I did apologize, but I told him there was some truth to what I said. However, since then he's been more quiet and behaved. Even my wife, who was with him over the weekend, said that he was much better. So yes, I think I am the a-hole for telling him he was the reason we're getting divorced. But in some ways, I don't think I am, because maybe it was just something he needed to hear. OP, I think you could have left this story at the title. Don't think we needed you to dig yourself straight into hell there. I think that was inconsiderate on your behalf, and I don't think that Satan wants that either, okay? I think Satan wants to chuck you into an even deeper layer somewhere. I don't know where you belong, not even hell wants you at this point. If I took you to a counselor, and we asked them, hey, do you think a kid wants to hear that they're the cause of a divorce? Do you think the counselor's not going to smack you over the head with his clipboard? That move was definitely not the means to a productive end, OP. And I don't think this sudden change in your son's mood will manifest in a good way in the future. You're the a-hole. Please get some help. Please reverse time if you can and stop yourself from doing that. What the hell's wrong with you? The title was bad, but your explanation was worse. You failed as a parent by not getting him the help he needs and being able to support him as a parent. Now you're not just breaking up his home, but you're telling him it's his fault when the fault lies with you two adults? That's horrific. You're the a-hole. Christ. You're the a-hole. Honestly, it sounds like you've both been crappy parents. That's the reason he acts out. Yes, there may have been some physiological components, but it's your job as parents to get him help, not deal with it by drinking, blaming him, and fighting. This whole situation is a result of your failures. Seriously, this is one of the most horrible things I've seen a parent post on here. It honestly sounds like the poor kid has no one giving him the proper support and structure that he needs, which is a failure on the part of both parents, which has no reflection on the child. Support and structure and working together as a parenting team is especially crucial with a child that has any additional needs, such as behavioral problems. You're the a-hole for not properly supporting your son, for putting undue blame on him, and for telling him you blame him. All of that is on you, OP, not the kid. You're gonna sit here and tell me children don't just autocorrect bad behavior without intervention? How dare you add insult to injury by bringing common sense to combat stupidity and poor parenting? You're the a-hole times 1000. Yes, the title is bad, but the content of this post isn't better. You're such an a-hole, I can't believe it. You getting divorced isn't his fault. It's not. He's your child. Children throw tantrums, they can also get in trouble at school, and can disagree with their parents. Parenting him is your job, and if you and your wife can't handle it, that's on you. Because she can't tolerate our son that much, we agreed that he gets to spend most of the week with me, unfortunately. Oh, F off with that. That's your child. Your child that is going to a major change in his life, and you say it's unfortunate he's spending most of his time with you? You're the a-hole for telling him the divorce is his fault. You're the a-hole for telling him you and your wife were happy before he was born. You're the a-hole for failing him as a parent and being a crappy person. You're the a-hole for being glad he's calmer now after you destroyed him with your words. I feel so sorry for that kid. He has 2 horrible parents, and I hope he has some other positive support system in his life. Posted by user, Change Your Name, Am I the A-hole? Titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my boyfriend this isn't Game of Thrones, and he doesn't need to continue his family's legacy? I'm 24 female, my boyfriend and I have been dating a little over 2 years. I'm not pregnant, but we got on the subject of future children since we want to eventually marry and start a family together. He wants his first boy to have a family name, understandable, and for all his kids to take his last name since he's an only child and he wants to continue the family legacy. Yes, he said that almost verbatim. And yeah, I laughed a bit because that's a weird thing to say, to be honest. For the record, I already know I'm either going to hyphenate my name or not change it at all when we marry. No shame to women who change their last name, it's everyone's own choice. I'd like our kids to hyphenate too. My boyfriend didn't realize my policy extended to any kids we might have. He's really adamant about continuing on his last name for some reason. It's an uncommon name, but he's not royalty or anything. After going in circles about the legacy and bloodlines and the family name, I eventually told him it's 2020 and we don't live in Game of Thrones, and legacy doesn't mean anything anymore. He's been mad at me for disrespecting his family, and is saying just because I don't care about my family name doesn't mean he doesn't. According to my friends, he's being silly, but I probably could have been more nice about telling him no. Personally, I don't think that you're an a-hole for this, but I know that that mentality still continues to this day. My friend who is estranged in a way from her Scottish father still goes on about the family legacy with the family name that he wants to continue. And to me it was kind of like, why do you care? This has no bearing on reality. Plus you have girls, so the family name's not gonna continue through them. I don't know, people get too hung up on it. It's like the family name just overrides your kids in general. I don't get it, I don't understand it. I think that OP is not the a-hole for not caring. And I think she's not the a-hole for telling her partner so. Just a weird mentality. Not the a-hole. I disagree with one of his main points. You do care about your family name. That's why you want to hyphenate your kids' names. He seems to think that only men caring about their family name has any value. It's interesting that this is you disrespecting his family, but he doesn't mind how disrespectful he's being to you and your family. People are arguing that OP is being a hypocrite because she claims not to care about legacy, but wants the kids to hyphenate, i.e. have her name. These are totally different issues. She wants to hyphenate, and the guy wants the kids to only have his name. It's a related issue, but it's not quite the same. I can stand OP wanting it to be obvious that her kids are related to her on paper. I certainly want my kids to have my name too, and because I'm a woman with no brothers or male cousins, and my husband is an only child, we're both the last of our line, so to speak, and want our kids to carry on both of our names into adulthood. If and when they decide to change it, that's 100% on them, and we are obviously fine with it. As someone who had their parents' names hyphenated, please spare your kids. Pick one. My hyphenated name has caused me so much grief and inconvenience when it comes to IDs, records, transcripts, etc., due to length. It also kicks the issue down the road. Imagine two people with hyphenated names marry. Are you gonna quadruple hyphenate? I can't just name change the last name either, because it would add another layer of complexity when I'm trying to get my paperwork together for insurance, loans, etc. My sisters literally joke about how they get to escape haste when they marry, but I'm stuck with it for life. Please don't hyphenate. I wish my parents hadn't almost on the daily. Posted by user AITA222. Titled, Am I the a-hole for telling someone that their tattoo doesn't mean anything? I, 25 female, am very white, but studied Islamic and Middle Eastern studies. I'm fluent in MSA and 3 dialects. I worked for an embassy in a Gulf state for nearly 2 years. Recently, I met a few new people. One of them is a quarter Lebanese, as she has a Lebanese grandmother. To my knowledge, she doesn't speak Arabic. It got a bit awkward when she got a new tattoo. It is in Arabic, and people asked what it means. She said it means sunrise, which unfortunately it doesn't. It is just Arabic letters saying the English word sunrise. So basically when you read it out loud, it says sunrise. I decided to keep this to myself, but then she asked me what I thought of it. I said it's lovely and hoped that would be it. Unfortunately, it hasn't. Someone decided to Google the word sunrise and found its actual spelling. This sparked a discussion about how unreliable the internet is, and eventually someone asked me if maybe there's multiple spellings. That's when I decided to spill the beans. My friend with the tattoo got quite upset, understandably, but then she turned to me and said that it was rude to say that, since she's actually Middle Eastern, and I'm just an imposter. She left shortly after, and our friend group is divided. Wow, I was gonna go with no a-holes here for this one, which is a rare judgment, but then she says that they're an imposter? A little bit racist there, buddy, just a little bit racist. That one turns the tides to OP's not the a-hole. That friend with the tattoo is the a-hole. Sure, OP is lying by omission, but to me it seemed like an unnecessary thing to say. Oh yeah, no, you screwed up your tattoo job. God, that must suck for you. It just spells sunrise in English, but that's not the actual definition that you were going for with your tattoo. God, sorry about it. Sure, you can judge OP for being the a-hole in the situation there, but I don't judge OP for that. I think that's just like any other person that gets a tattoo with Chinese letters on them. Just let them believe what they want to believe. There they go. It's no harm to them. So there's my reasoning, OP not the a-hole. Well, you were just telling them the truth, so I'ma go with not the a-hole. I don't get what she's so upset about. Now she should just tell people it's sunrise transliterated into Arabic script. Most people aren't going to care. To be fair, I too would be upset to learn that I had a misspelled tattoo, and what I wanted tattooed on me was not done the way I wanted. It's permanent after all. That said, OP still isn't the a-hole. She was ready to let it drop, but no one else was. Tattoo artists aren't language experts. If you come to a tattoo artist with something written in a language they don't know, it's not their job to figure that out. It's yours, the customer, to know what it means and have it prepared properly for them. It's their job to just make it look good on your skin. Not the a-hole. You were honest when asked and framed it politely. Your friend used an ad hominem attack. I've had people try and get me on language crap too, using ad hominem attacks, and it's pretty rude. Just tell her it has the same propositional content despite being phonetically English. She should have researched the tattoo before inking it. Exactly. They didn't ask for their input before the tattoo, so there's not much OP can do anyways. She was just trying to be polite. Posted by user Fufu Bunny La, titled, "Am I the a-hole to ask my friend, single mother, to do a paternity test on her son because I had suspicions my husband is the father?" Messy, but I'll make this as short as possible. So one of my best friends had a kid 3 years ago. She said it was a one-night stand, and later the guy expressed no interest in being a dad, so she raised her son herself. No one has ever seen this guy, not even me. The issue is this. This kid looks extremely like my husband, like to an insane degree. The hair color, eyes, face, everything. He's even been out with my friend and her son, and people have mistaken him to be the dad before. Needless to say, for 3 years now, I've had my suspicions, but I haven't said anything. My husband is also close to my friend, and the timeline works out. We were all living almost in the same neighborhood around the time she got pregnant. Over the past year, it's really eaten at me. I see the resemblance growing more and more. It doesn't help that my friend refuses to show me a picture of her son's biological father, no matter how much I asked. It kept spiraling until I had a meltdown and confronted both of them, saying that I will pack up and leave if I don't see a paternity test. Long story short, my friend got a paternity test, but said that our friendship is over. The test says my husband isn't the father, and I feel so ashamed to lose my friend, but I thought my husband would slightly understand, since even he sees the obvious resemblance between him and this kid. But he has moved out for the time being, and I'm worried this is the end of our marriage. Am I the a-hole for insisting on that test? I honestly felt like I had no other choice. The resemblance was unavoidable, and it was eating at me so much that no amount of therapy could help. I thought my husband would understand my fears most of all, given my history with past cheating exes. Did I screw up, and how badly? OP, Jesus Christ. You might want to join that man, grab a shovel, and help him dig down to hell too. Oh no. What have you done here? You screwed up big time. This may be one of the biggest screw-ups you've had to date, I imagine. It's not particularly normal to force your friends to have a paternity test with your husband and continue to berate them about it for a long time to force them into doing it, and then, try and have everyone be cool with it after the fact when it's proven that, hey, the husband is not the father. I mean, I think a lot of people could have seen from a mile away that this was going to destroy the friendship. I know that it eased your nerves to actually have the results and be assured, but how did you not think that this woman was going to detach you guys from her life? That's what I want to know. I want to know how you reconciled and convinced yourself that this wouldn't destroy relationships left, right, and center. You're the a-hole. I thought my husband would slightly understand, since even he sees the obvious resemblance between him and this kid. Wait, so you thought your supposedly cheating husband would just casually comment on his love child like, "Oh gee, honey, doesn't he look just like me?" to his already paranoid wife? Why the hell would he do that if he was actually guilty? Why the hell would either of them indulge you if they actually cheated? What a mess. You need professional help, OP. I don't think it will save your marriage or friendship, but hopefully it will save you from yourself. You're the a-hole. Remember when Arnold Schwarzenegger's housekeeper had a son that looked unmistakably like him, and how that turned out? That boy is his identical damn clone with a tan though. I don't know how nobody saw that sooner. Arnold has a very unique look. I don't know how he looked as a child though. Probably less bulky. It'd be nice if we could just believe people who swear they weren't cheating, but that's just what cheaters would do, so we can't. I don't even know where to begin judging this one. How would that even go? Babe, I know this is stupid, but the kid looks a lot like you, and I just can't get this idea out of my head. What should I do? Faithful spouse's response says, "I've always been faithful to you. I hate to say it, But this sounds like your past experiences with cheating exes is messing with your head. If you pursue this, it's going to ruin your friendship and strain our marriage. Please listen to me and figure a way to get over it. Oh, it's the same thing with a cheating spouse's response. If you suspect cheating but can't prove it, what are you supposed to do? The only two options I can think of are burning it all down, right or wrong, and just let it go, right or wrong. Once you start trying to prove it, accusing people of cheating and asking for evidence, etc., those friendships are pretty much trashed either way. If you're right, they're goddamn cheaters and that's the end of the friendship. If you're wrong, congratulations. You've accused your friends of betraying you and that's the end of the friendship. So I think you have to ask yourself, what's more important to you? Losing your friends but knowing for sure, or keeping your friends and living with the doubt? Going against the grain to give no a-holes here. This thread is a classic case of outcome bias. A judgment of OP's decisions should only depend on the information that was available to OP when those decisions were made. So, the outcome of the paternity test should not affect judgment. Yet, I guarantee all of these you're the a-holes would be not the a-holes if the test came back positive. It's too bad that you couldn't move past this. In hindsight, it was just your paranoia, but hindsight is 20/20. Go to any Reddit thread about suspected cheating, and you will find hundreds of comments telling you to trust your gut feelings and find the truth. Well, that's what you did, and now Reddit crucifies you for it. Typical. You made a decision that would ease your suspicions while ending your relationships, no matter the outcome. It's a tough trade, and now it's time to face the consequences of it. But, hopefully, it is better than being driven to wit's end by uncertainty. Alright guys, that's where I'm going to end today's video. I really do hope you enjoyed it, and maybe even learned something that you didn't know before. If you haven't already, please do feel free to click that like button, as it really does help me in the YouTube algorithm. And if you haven't already and you loved today's video, please feel free to subscribe. I would love it a lot. Also, big shout out to all my Patreon members and channel subscribers. You guys are all up on the screen right now. I love you. I love your faces. Also, I love seeing you guys all chatting down below in the comments. It brightens my day to see the stories that you guys share and just the kind words you guys always have for my videos, as well as everyone else in the videos. I love you too. But honestly, your ongoing support means the world to me, and I just love it so much that you guys are able to support a career for myself that I invest so much time into. And you guys honestly motivate me to work harder each and every day to put more love into the videos for you guys. If you guys have watched this far in the video and you haven't already subscribed on Patreon or become a channel member, that's cool, you don't have to, but there are links down below. You can donate any amount of money, pledge that any month, cancel whenever. I'm completely cool with it. It's just there for you to support me if you'd like to go the extra mile. And I'll go the extra mile for you guys by putting out new amazing content every single day. With that said guys, I really hope you have a good day, night, sleep, bath, time at work, whatever you're up to today. This has been Markee. I'll see you in the next amazing video. Bye.